Our first guest today is a longtime partner at one of the country's top venture capital firms, Bessemer Venture Partners, and one of his specialty areas is getting hotter and hotter, cybersecurity. David Cowan, welcome to Money Moves. We're glad to have you with us. We've been talking about the company that just said it is going to go public this month, and that is Palo Alto. And I'm just wondering, are we going to see more and more internet security companies being born, growing up, and then eventually going public? It seems like the answer is yes, but I'd like to hear it from your expert point of view.
Thank you, Deidre. Thanks for having me today. Yes, absolutely. What we're seeing at Palo Alto Networks is part of a much larger, broader theme across the whole global economy. And it really comes from the fact that more and more of our lives is moving online, and with that, that creates a lot of issues of trust. For consumers, how do we protect our financial assets and our privacy? For businesses and professionals, how do we protect our reputation and our businesses from attack? For our nation, how do we protect our critical infrastructure? So these are all questions that are not going away, at least not until this whole internet thing blows over. And so really what we're seeing is solutions that have to come from all different types of companies. There is no single answer to how we secure the internet and how we make it a trusted place for us to live our lives and do business. And we really need solutions that are going to help consumers, governments, businesses, and Palo Alto Networks is an
David, I know you said it as a joke in passing till this whole internet thing blows over. I mean, we are going more and more mobile, but it seems like security, whether it's in the cloud or whether it's online, I mean, that issue is never going to go away. This idea of protecting, as you said, consumer data, if you're running a business, your corporation's data, and as you rightly point out, governments as well. From what Palo Alto does to this idea of protecting the data, putting up firewalls, letting businesses know if they have, in fact, if they're at risk. I mean, all of these functions, I assume, are basically the next generation of security companies and the types of companies that we're going to see come up.
Yes, well, of all the different areas of security, actually, enterprise security, where Palo Alto Networks plays, is probably the most mature. Businesses have been buying this kind of infrastructure now for 15 years, and so Palo Alto Networks, they're coming to market. They've come to market with a firewall that's a little bit more sophisticated. It allows companies to set more rules as to which users can access which applications. It's really, as they say, just the next generation of an existing product area. In the venture business, we are, as you pointed out, also looking at totally new areas and new markets. And we see those more in businesses that actually touch the lives of consumers directly, because now security has become a mainstream issue. So you've got companies like Palo Alto Networks who build what we might consider to be invisible security inside of the companies that we all deal with or we work for. But then there are also this new generation of companies that are coming up that help us directly think about, how can I use payments safely? How can I share photos safely? How can I share my social security number or other information? How can I take, these devices like this into work and use it when
and not freak out that all my information is going to go out there.
I mean, companies don't control or own these, and yet they have to figure out how to allow us to do our jobs and still do it in a secure way. And so there's still a lot to be done, a lot to be figured out.
Okay, so I hear you saying, corporate America is more or less set up. Of course, there's always going to be companies that are doing it better, but as you say, Palo Alto in this enterprise space, the fact that it's going public just shows, to your point, that it's pretty mature, and the next generation is more for you and me as individuals. Is it some kind of crazy arms race, David, when you decide which companies to put money into? Do you count on the engineers in your portfolio companies always being one step ahead of crooks? I mean, how do you judge whether or not a company can do that?
That's a really good question. The answer is yes. It is an arms race. It is a cat and mouse game, and it's not going to stop. For as long as there are human beings competing for resources on our planet, it's not going to stop. And so one of the things that we do is we look to see what the hackers are doing. What kinds of problems are they causing? Initially, it was with businesses in the late 90s, and then they started going after consumers with ID theft. And more recently, they've been working for nation states in the cyber warfare arena. And so we're following them and seeing what they're doing and figuring out where a solution is required. And then we're looking for the very, very best cyber teams that we can back to try to build solutions. For example, there's a company that we're invested in Atlanta. It's a spin out of internet security systems. The team probably the most respected cyber team in the private sector, and now they're just focused exclusively on national security solutions.
All right, well, I want to talk a little bit more about your portfolio companies, where you're putting your money right now. We have to take a quick break, but we are going to continue the conversation with David Cowan right after this break. We're back in just 2 minutes.